The violinist froze mid-bow. The laughter vanished from the air, like bubbles bursting from a champagne glass. Every head turned toward the door of St. Helena's Chapel, and there I stood, in the same blue dress, the very same dress they had buried me in. My daughter, Sophia, looked at me as if she had seen a ghost. The bouquet slipped from her hand, white roses scattering across the marble floor. "Mother," she whispered. No one moved. The priest dropped his Bible. The groom mumbled something under his breath, a name that wasn't mine. I took a step forward. My heels echoed sharply against the marble. "I heard," I said quietly, "that the dead should rest in peace. But tell me, how could I rest when my own daughter buried me alive?" A scream broke through the silence. Someone started filming. Someone else whispered. A child began to cry. For a moment, I thought I would faint. My heart was pounding so fast I could taste blood in my mouth. But I had promised myself no more tears. Sophia backed away. You weren't dead?" "Dead?" I smiled, but the smile never reached my eyes. "That's what you said, didn't you?" The groom's mother stood up. "This is disgraceful. Who are you, woman?" I looked straight at her. "I'm her mother," I said. "The woman she sold for a house and a wedding." Whispers rippled through the crowd like a wave, then turned into chaos. Someone tried to stop me, but I kept walking. Every step tore through the veil of lies that had smothered me for 3 long years. The day everything changed wasn't stormy or dramatic. It was an ordinary Tuesday, the kind of day that makes you believe life will always stay the same. That morning, I baked Sophia's favorite lemon bread. She had recently gotten engaged, and I wanted to surprise her. When I arrived at her house, the door was slightly open. Voices came from inside. "Your mother will never agree to sell that land," said a man's voice. Sophia's voice, cold, unfamiliar, replied, "Then she'll have to disappear." A chill ran down my spine. The plate slipped from my hand and shattered on the floor. They rushed out, my daughter and her fiancé, faces painted with fake shock. "Mother, what are you doing here?" I couldn't answer. I just stared. I had raised her alone. After her father died, I worked 2 jobs. I sold my wedding ring to pay for her education. And now she looked at me like I was a problem to be erased. That night, my car fell into a ravine. At least that's what the police said. But I remember, I wasn't the one behind the wheel. There were hands, a shove, a scream, cold water. When I woke up, my body was bruised and my name was gone. The doctors called it a miracle. I called it exile. They said there had already been a funeral. My daughter had given a speech. And now, standing there in that golden chapel, staring at my daughter in her white gown, I finally understood why I had survived. Not for revenge, not even for justice, but for truth. Because truth, no matter how deeply it's buried, still breathes. Each morning, sunlight entered my little house the same way, as if the world had never betrayed me. On those mornings, I remembered Sophia as a child. 2 braids, shoes always a size too big, laughter bright as music. Her laughter was life itself to me. I worked for that laughter, studied, sold newspapers at night, kneaded bread in the bakery at dawn. When her father died, Sophia was only 10. From that day, I became both mother and father. Our yard was small but full of flowers. Every spring, I planted roses beneath the window. "These are your happiness," I used to tell her. And she would reply, "When I grow up, I'll buy you a big house, Mama." Those dreams kept me alive. Years passed. Sophia went to university, graduated with honors. I was proud. But slowly, something changed. She spoke less to me, and a strange coldness appeared in her eyes. I thought she was just becoming independent. But in truth, she had opened her heart to another world, a world of money, glitter, and power. One day she came home with a new phone. I had never even heard of such prices. "Where did you get this?" I asked. "A gift, Mama, from a friend." A friend. That word seemed harmless then, but the man who followed her in had danger behind his smile. His name was Emil, charming on the outside, frozen inside. "Mrs. Marina," he once told me politely, "you're a strong woman, but times have changed. The world needs new people now." I thought it was just small talk. Now I know it was a warning. Sophia started working. New job, new clothes, new friends. I cooked for her every night, but she came home less and less. Sometimes she wouldn't even answer my calls. One evening she came in, lips red, perfume expensive. "Mama," she said, "I'm living differently now. Emil and I are starting a business." I stayed silent. I had never seen eyes so cold as Emil's, and my daughter trusted him completely. A month later, I learned what their business was. They had mortgaged the small piece of land that belonged to me and my late husband. I refused to sign. Sophia cried, calling me old-fashioned, a burden. "I only want what's best for you," I said. "Money isn't happiness." "You don't understand," she shouted. "Your time is over." Those words pierced my heart, but I said nothing. A mother's silence is not weakness, it's hope. Soon, Emil began visiting more often. He never smiled sincerely, but always left with something. One night I overheard him on the phone. "Yes, the papers will be ready. She'll agree, or I'll make her agree." I felt something inside me break. That night, I baked lemon bread, Sophia's favorite. I left a note. "I will always love you, my daughter." I took it to her house, and through the open door, I heard those words again. "Then she'll have to disappear." The plate fell from my hands. The smell of lemon and sugar filled the air as glass shattered. They rushed out. "Mother, why are you here?" I said nothing, just looked at her. The same eyes that once laughed, now frozen like winter glass. In that moment, one word echoed in my head: enough. That night, it rained. I sat in my car for hours, asking myself, where did I go wrong? There was no answer. When I finally drove away, headlights flashed behind me. Footsteps, a shove, a scream. And then, nothing. Only darkness and cold water. After that night, I was no longer Marina. I was no one. But my heart still beat. So I wasn't finished. Some poisons aren't liquid. They come as words, smiles, or love's shadow. That's the kind that entered Sophia's heart. And the one who gave it to her was Emil. When they pulled me from the water, my body was cold, but my heart still beat. The report said accident, but I knew it wasn't. Someone had wanted me gone. I stayed in the hospital for weeks. Only one person cared for me, my old neighbor, Martha. Every day, she brought me warm soup. I told her only one thing: "Martha, don't tell anyone. I'm alive." She nodded. I decided to live in silence, in the shadows. Alive, but only as a witness. Martha helped me find a tiny cabin on the edge of town. Every day, I watched from afar. Sophia drove expensive cars, wore elegant clothes. People called her successful. I barely recognized her. Then I heard rumors. "Marina has died," they said. There was a funeral, people cried, even a certificate. Everyone believed it. Everyone except Martha. That's when I knew this wasn't fate. This was erasure. Through Martha, I learned that Emil was now her husband. They had opened an office downtown. I kept watching. Every night, I saw their photos online. They laughed while I died a little more inside. But I also saw something else. A dim light in Sophia's eyes. She smiled, but her soul flickered. That flicker was guilt. And guilt is the slowest, most painful poison of all. One day Martha brought a newspaper. "Look," she said, "they wrote an article about your daughter and her husband. A new business empire." I looked at the photo. Behind it, in tiny letters, an ad. "Local farmland for sale." That was my land. My husband's sweat. Now their source of wealth. That day, I made a promise. I will return. With Martha's help, I gathered documents, found a lawyer, and began to rebuild myself. I was no longer the broken Marina. I was the last soldier of my own truth. But each night, I still heard Sophia's voice from childhood. "I'll never leave you, Mama." I lived for those words. Months later, Martha told me, "Sophia has fallen ill. She's thin, pale, people are worried." I said nothing. The poison was eating her now from the inside out. Emil, however, prospered. He appeared on television, boasting, "My wife brings me luck." I watched in silence, but I knew wealth built on cruelty never lasts. Did I still love Sophia? Yes. A mother's heart can't hold hatred, only pain. But I also wanted justice. Then Martha told me, "They're planning another wedding, a grand one." "But they're already married?" I asked. "It's for the public, cameras, guests, everything." I whispered, "Then I'll be there." When I heard about the wedding, my heart was calm. No fear, only truth. I would walk in, look them in the eyes, and end it. That night, I looked in the mirror. White hair, tired eyes, steady face. The woman staring back was no longer Marina. She was truth itself. "I'm alive," I whispered, "and they will know it." Some people live playing roles. Others die trapped in them. Sophia had become the latter. The city buzzed with gossip about the grand wedding. They were the couple of the year. Magazines called them symbols of success and love. But I could see the lie behind every smile. Sophia smiled for the cameras, but offstage, she hid her face in her hands. I knew that tiny tremor in her lip. She had it whenever she lied as a child. Martha found out the wedding location, a grand villa outside the city. It was once my husband's dream home. Now it belonged to Emil. My heart cracked again. Martha asked, "Are you really going, Marina?" I answered, "I'm not just going, I'm returning." That night, I opened old boxes, photos, certificates, letters I once wrote to Sophia. Each letter carried a lesson. Always choose truth, even when it hurts. Now, her whole life was built on lies. I closed the box and looked into the mirror again. This time, I saw not myself, but my mission. The day before the wedding, Martha handed me an invitation. She had borrowed it from a wedding planner. "You can get in as a guest," she said. "Change your hair color, a little makeup, no one will recognize you." I smiled. I don't want to hide. I'll choose when to be seen. That night, I sat in a white dress. Every thread tied me to the past. "I'm not going to a wedding," I whispered. "I'm going to truth." The next morning, Sophia stared at her reflection. Emil asked, "Are you ready? Cameras arrive soon." She nodded, but her eyes were empty. She hadn't slept. Somewhere inside, she was waiting for me. The wedding day came. Music, laughter, cameras. Emil stood center stage, soaking in the applause. "Today," he said, "we celebrate love and a new beginning." That's when my voice cut through the room. "A new beginning built on lies, Emil?" The room fell silent. All eyes turned toward me. Sophia looked back and froze. I met her gaze. "My daughter, I'm alive." Chaos erupted. Screams, gasps, flashing lights. Emil stepped back, color draining from his face. Sophia covered her mouth, sobbing. I approached her. "I forgive you," I said, "but the truth can't be buried." Sophia fell to her knees. Her tears weren't just tears. They were years pouring out. And in that moment, I knew this wasn't my victory. It was her awakening. The wedding was canceled. Newspapers called it the mother who returned from the dead. Emil fled. Sophia came to me the next day. She said quietly, "Mother, I lost myself." I answered, "No, my child, you just lost sight of the truth. but truth always finds its way back. She hugged me. For a moment, everything vanished. Pain, lies, years. Only a mother and daughter remained. Every headline read, "The living mother at the fake wedding." The city buzzed, but no one knew what was happening inside my heart. That evening, Sophia came home, her face pale, eyes swollen. She took my hands, trembling. "When I lost you, I lost myself," she said. I stroked her hair. Every gesture said, "I still love you." Then I told her, "My daughter, it's time to learn not to cry, but to live." "How, Mother? I've lied to everyone." "Yes, but truth will set you free. Live by it now." Hope flickered in her eyes for the first time. The next day, Emil went on television. He called me a mentally unstable woman. She faked her death for money, he said. I watched, anger burning in my chest, but I smundled. Now it's his turn to play, I thought. Martha looked at me. "You must go to court, Marina. He didn't just take your life, he tried to erase your humanity." I nodded. This isn't just my story anymore. It's a fight for truth. The courtroom was full. Cameras, reporters. I entered in black, head held high. Emil, in his white suit, smirked. The judge asked, "Mrs. Marina, what is your claim?" I stood. "I'm not defending myself," I said. "I'm defending truth. This man, my son-in-law, declared me dead, forged certificates, and built his wealth from my disappearance." The judge reviewed the evidence. It was undeniable. Then Sophia stood up. Her hands trembled, but her voice did not. "I'm a witness," she said. "I knew my mother wasn't dead, but I stayed silent because I was afraid. I was afraid of Emil." The courtroom went silent. Her tears hit the floor, and I felt pride swell in my chest. She had become the woman I had always hoped for, a woman who chose truth. The judge finally said, "Emil Jason is guilty of fraud, forgery, and the unlawful erasure of identity." Someone applauded. I simply closed my eyes. I breathed. It wasn't just my victory. It was every mother's victory who had ever been silenced. Outside the courthouse, Sophia asked, "What happens now, Mother?" I looked at the sky. The sun broke through the clouds. "Now we live, my daughter. Every day in truth." And the past? The past is a lesson, and we've already learned it. I whispered to myself, I will never be silent again. I live for truth. That evening, we sat drinking tea. Sophia smiled. "When I lost you, I lost myself," she said again. I answered, "And now you've found yourself. You are strong." Martha, looking through the window, said, "They thought you were defeated, Marina, but you came back." I smiled. "I never left, Martha. I just went searching for the truth." The city was quiet, but in my heart, I heard music, the music of freedom. I looked in the mirror, and I didn't see a broken woman anymore. I saw a mother who had won. "I live now," I whispered. "I am Marina. I am the voice of truth." 3 months passed after the trial. Emil was sentenced. Sophia visited me every day, but a quiet ache still lived inside me. One day she asked, "Mother, are you happy now?" I paused. Happiness? It meant something different now. "I am happy," I said, "but not yet completely free." "Why not?" "Because I haven't forgiven." Then, one morning, a letter arrived. It was from Emil. My hands trembled as I opened it. "Mother, I didn't hate you. I just didn't know how to live with what I'd done. When I declared you dead, I killed myself too. Now, behind these bars, I hear your words. Truth hurts, Emil, but it sets you free. Forgive me, Mother. I don't deserve it, but don't forget me in your prayers." Tears filled my eyes, not of pain, but release. For days, I wrestled with myself. "Forgive him? He destroyed you," my anger whispered.